All right. WVU football going deep and going live. Jumping on here real quickly, Shaggy and all, because we got some really good recruiting news from the transfer portal. Xavier Bosley is officially coming home. He visited Pitt, then he visited WVU, then he visited Kentucky and said, I'm coming home. So he is queuing country roads somewhere. And this is really big because, well, there is uncertainty about the offensive line. We have starters coming back, though, we'll have a new starter at center. And we have good players and we have good young players. But it just wasn't really clear who was going to anchor the right side. Well, Bosley, he's an anchor. He's tall, he's big, and he's good. Played at Jacksonville State last 2 years, redshirted his freshman year, was a redshirt freshman All-American this year. Jacksonville State isn't a big school. He has played against some Power 5 competition, and he did well. He's also a West Virginia native, South Charleston. Looks to be the replacement for Doug Nestor. And as I said in the last video, that's a native who went off for a while coming home to replace a native who went off for a while and came home. So maybe we have a new tradition. But it does look like we have a star tackle for the right side. Have him hopefully for 3 years. Since he redshirted, it's 3 years to play 3 years, but we should have an excellent right tackle this year and one who's going to be around and get better over the next couple of years. Now, the downside, somebody's going to leave. Don't know who. And right now, whoever is going to leave probably doesn't know they're going to leave. A lot is going to depend on that depth chart by the end of spring. When the next portal window opens, whatever player who's been around 2 or 3 years, something like that, but is stagnant or slipping on the depth chart is going to leave. Whoever looks at that chart and says, I'm not going to play. I'm never going to play here. They will go play somewhere else. And we've got good players. There's nobody on the team that I'm saying, oh gosh, man, would you please just leave? And there were some before. There are guys that I think will leave, but they haven't yet. I want all of these guys to do well. I think they all can do well. Can they do well at West Virginia? There is the question. And we just keep recruiting better and better talent. And it sucks that some of these guys are not going to want to leave, but have to leave. We are overstocked. We cannot enroll everybody now, even if they wanted to enroll, because we would be over the 85 limit. With Bosley added, I think we are at 6 or 7 guys who have to leave to get us down to 85. And they still are trying to land some more. We have some other guys, particularly defense now, that they're pushing hard and got high hopes for. Hoping, they may have committed already and it hasn't gone public yet. One or two likely will be committing any day because it's a matter of getting into school in time. And Bosley does intend to enroll in January. Hopefully, we'll be seeing about that very soon. Freshmen have already moved in. Another note, when Bosley visited, after the visit, he said, the big thing was that it felt like home, family. Could feel it as soon as you walked in. And that goes back to culture. It's something Brown has worked hard to establish, and the vibe is there and strong. And the guys who feel it and like it are the ones we want most. Now, the sad thing is some of those guys are going to have to leave, whether they choose to or the coaches just say, you gotta. They're going to be guys who feel at home at West Virginia University and with this program. And yeah, let's say good to get him. I'm the lucky may not be the right word because I think the coaches and some of the players worked really hard to make this happen. But yes, we beat Pitt, which always feels good, beat them in anything, and we beat Kentucky, an SEC school. So, hey, I think things are rolling. I think this is the payoff from the work that Brown has been doing all along. And I think it's just going to keep getting better, which unfortunately means, guys are going to get forced out. But if you go back and look, getting cut was always a thing. When you came into a season, from the time you started playing sports, there were guys who did not make the team. And every year, there were guys are going to make the team because they're good. Or in high school because of who their parents were. Things aren't always perfect. But we haven't really thought about it much over the years with college ball. And of course, it's been a long time since West Virginia was at the 85-man limit when a season started. They always, even the last few years, they were giving out scholarships to walk-ons and sometimes still not getting up to the 85-man limit until the last year or so. This idea of being over the limit and having to cut players is new for us. I don't like it. And there are probably, some of the guys, we've never seen them enough on the field to really build that emotional attachment, but we still read about them. West Virginia does a good job mostly about promoting their players. So we feel like we know these guys, even if they haven't played. And I don't like seeing them go. Now you have guys, who the ones who just leave for the money, screw them. I don't care. They're gone. They're not Mountaineers. These guys who are still around and hoping to play their way into staying, even if they get forced out, they are Mountaineers. The guys who are dedicated to the team, they are Mountaineers. The guys, and then, some of the guys that were signing for 1 year they're not going to end up being dedicated. And that's one of the ways Beanie Bishop was another exception. He came in and he became a Mountaineer. He, became dedicated to the program, to the culture. So he is once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer. And it can happen that quickly. And that's the players the coaches want. I mean, there was the old thing about, a choice between talent and experience. You pick talent. You should be reading in all things being equal in there. But it's also, if you have two good players and one is going to bond with the team, the culture, the program, the university, the state, and one isn't, you take the guy who's going to bond. And if there's just a bit of difference between the two, you still take the guy who's going to bond. He's going to be better for you than the guy who may have a little more talent. And I think the coaches are getting better at that. Coach Brown has said he's getting better at figuring out who's going to succeed at this program. Okay. Now, I said I was just going to jump in here for a minute. But it's been a little longer than that. I've said it before. I like talking. I feel better when I talk. Talking is better than caffeine to me. And if I have caffeine and talking, well, that's real fun. Now, I am going to get off here pretty quickly. And I do want to say, please subscribe. Please click the thumbs up, make comments, click the share button. Tell your friends about WVU Football Going Deep on YouTube. There's this nutcase who gets on here and talks a lot. And, all of those things are free of charge. They don't hurt you and they do help me. I consider that a good thing. There's also a PayPal link on the home channel. And if you would like to help that way, I don't think that would hurt my feelings at all. All right. I am going off to do other things, including going back to do some reading. I first saw this information on the 24/7 Sports Board. I'm sure it's everywhere. That's where I first saw it. Give the guys some credit. And I will be going back there to check for more news. And if we are lucky, or if, let's say, the hard work pays off quickly enough, I'll be back on here to announce another major signing. Any of these guys we get right now are going to be big, big gets. All right. Okay, Mountaineer Paul first broke the story. I mean, I'm not going to go in and track just when each one got the news out first. I know Mountaineer Paul does make contact with a lot of the players and recruits. So maybe he did get first notice. But the main thing is Xavier Bosley is coming home. We've got ourselves a star tackle who, hey, I'm not saying he will start. He will get the opportunity, and he looks to have the ability to bypass everybody else. Yeah, I recognize that, and I just, want to give him, whoever deserves the credit. Hey, that's great with me. Anyway, and I'm not one who's into breaking news. I try to do a little depth when I can. Anyway, time for me to try and settle down a little bit, take a few deep breaths, try not to spend the entire rest of the afternoon thinking about how good the 2024 season is going to be. And we're already getting people saying, well, the 2024 season's not going to be that good, and the team's going to be bad after that. You know, we've already got people who are saying the team's going downhill in 2025. And they call themselves fans, and some call themselves media. Okay. I will see you guys later. Hopefully soon. So long.